The mysterious death of Princess Diana. It was just after midnight in Paris, August 31, 1997. Inside the back of a black Mercedes-Benz, one of the most photographed women in the world sat trying to escape the cameras that had followed her for years. Less than an hour later, she would be dead. And nearly 3 decades later, people are still asking the same question. Was it really an accident? Or was the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, something far darker? Tonight, we're walking through the final days of her life, the crash, the investigations, and the conspiracies that refused to die. The People's Princess. By 1997, Diana wasn't just royalty, she was a global icon. Her marriage to Charles III had collapsed publicly and painfully. The fairy tale wedding in 1981 had deteriorated into scandal, betrayal, and headlines that consumed the British press. Their divorce was finalized in 1996, but instead of fading away, Diana became more powerful than ever. She redefined what a modern royal could be, shaking hands with AIDS patients, walking through active landmine fields, challenging stigma, tradition, and sometimes the monarchy itself. She was adored by the public, and increasingly, she was unpredictable. Enter Dodi Fayed. In the summer of 1997, Diana began a relationship with Dodi Fayed, the son of billionaire businessman Mohammed Al Fayed. Mohammed owned the luxury department store Harrods and the Ritz Hotel in Paris. Diana and Dodi's romance moved fast. Yachts in the Mediterranean, private villas, photographs splashed across every tabloid in Europe. The press frenzy was relentless, and Diana was growing increasingly frustrated with the paparazzi. She had once said the photographers made her life a living nightmare, but on August 30, 1997, the nightmare would reach its climax. The final night. Diana and Dodi arrived in Paris that afternoon. They planned to stay at the Ritz Hotel, owned by Dodi's father. Almost immediately, paparazzi surrounded the building. Photographers on motorcycles, cameras flashing, crowds gathering. Inside, security grew concerned, so a plan was made. Shortly after midnight, a decoy vehicle left the front entrance to distract photographers. Meanwhile, Diana and Dodi exited through the rear of the hotel and entered a black Mercedes S280. Behind the wheel was Henry Paul, the acting head of security at the Ritz. They intended to drive to Dodi's apartment near the Champs-Élysées, but they never made it. The crash. At approximately 12:23 a.m., the Mercedes sped into the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. Moments later, it slammed into the 13th pillar. The impact was catastrophic. Dodi Fayed died instantly. Henry Paul was killed on impact. Diana was still alive, critically injured in the back seat. The only survivor was bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones, who suffered severe injuries but lived. Emergency responders worked for over an hour to stabilize Diana at the scene before transporting her to the hospital. Despite intensive surgery, she was pronounced dead at 4:00 a.m. at the Petit Salpêtrière Hospital. She was 36 years old. When the news broke, the world stopped. The immediate blame. Almost immediately, fingers pointed into directions: the paparazzi and the driver. Photos taken just seconds after the crash showed photographers swarming the wreckage. Public outrage exploded. Were they chasing the car? Did they force it to speed? Did they cause her death? Then came the toxicology report. Henry Paul's blood alcohol level was found to be over 3 times the legal limit in France. He was also on prescription medications. The official French investigation concluded the crash was caused by excessive speed and an intoxicated driver attempting to evade pursuing paparazzi. Case closed, or so it seemed. The first seeds of conspiracy. Almost immediately, Mohammed Al Fayed rejected the official explanation. He insisted his son and Diana were murdered. His claims? That Diana was pregnant with Dodi's child, that they were planning to get engaged, and that powerful forces inside the British establishment could not accept that the mother of the future king would marry a Muslim man. He alleged involvement by British intelligence, by the royal family, even by Prince Philip, The idea ignited a firestorm, because Diana had once written in a private letter that she believed someone was planning an accident in her car. Suddenly, coincidence didn't seem like coincidence anymore. Operation Paget. Due to growing public doubt, British authorities launched a massive investigation in 2004 called Operation Paget. It became one of the most extensive inquiries in British history. They examined over 175 conspiracy allegations, 600 witness statements, thousands of documents. After 3 years, their conclusion? There was no evidence of murder, no pregnancy, no engagement, no Mi-6 plot, no staged assassination. The crash was ruled a tragic accident caused by an intoxicated driver, high speed, failure to wear seatbelts. Neither Diana nor Dodi were wearing one. In 2008, a British inquest jury returned a verdict of unlawful killing, not murder, due to the gross negligence of Henry Paul and pursuing paparazzi. Legally, the matter was settled, but publicly, not even close. The pregnancy theory. One of the most persistent claims was that Diana was pregnant. If true, it would have caused an unprecedented royal scandal, but hospital tests found no evidence she was expecting. Medical records were examined extensively during Operation Paget. Still, believers argue, records could be altered, evidence could be suppressed. And because conspiracy thrives where trust is thin, the theory lives on. The seatbelt question. One detail continues to haunt investigators. The bodyguard survived. He was the only one wearing a seatbelt. Experts testified that Diana likely would have survived if she had been restrained. Why weren't they wearing them? Some speculate about tampering. Others point out that Diana was known not to consistently wear seatbelts in the back seat. Sometimes the simplest explanation is also the hardest to accept. The flash in the tunnel. Another theory centers around a mysterious flash of light reported by witnesses in the tunnel. Some believe a blinding strobe was used to disorient the driver. Operation Paget investigated this claim thoroughly. They found no evidence of such a device, but in a case filled with emotion and distrust, the flash became symbolic of something hidden, something unseen. Why the conspiracies persist? Here's the uncomfortable truth. When someone beloved dies suddenly, people struggle to accept randomness. Diana wasn't just famous. She was deeply human, vulnerable, emotional, open about her struggles. She felt different from the institution around her, and many believed she was at odds with it. So when she died violently in a foreign tunnel, chased by photographers, in a story that involved alcohol, speed, and chaos, the explanation felt too ordinary, too preventable, too tragic. So people searched for something bigger. The aftermath. In London, mountains of flowers surrounded Kensington Palace. Millions mourned. Her funeral was watched by an estimated 2.5 billion people worldwide. Even the royal family faced criticism for appearing distant in the immediate aftermath. It forced the monarchy to adapt to become more publicly emotional. In many ways, Diana's death reshaped the British royal family forever. Her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, were just 15 and 12 years old. They walked behind her coffin in front of the world. And they've spoken openly about the trauma of losing their mother under such intense public scrutiny. Accident, or something more. Nearly 30 years later, polls show a significant portion of people still believe Diana was murdered. No credible evidence has ever proven that claim. Every official investigation has concluded it was a tragic accident, but the combination of fame, secrecy, distrust of institutions, and unresolved emotion created the perfect breeding ground for suspicion. Sometimes, mysteries survive not because of evidence, but because of belief. Final thoughts. The death of Diana, Princess of Wales, remains one of the most shocking moments of the 20th century. A high-speed crash, a global icon, a media frenzy, a grieving world. Whether you believe it was a tragic accident or something more sinister, one thing is certain. The tunnel in Paris didn't just end a life, it ended an era. And for many, it ended the illusion that fairy tales last forever.